The Volga River is located and flows through central Russia. It starts about 200 miles southeast of St. Petersburg. As it makes its way through, it takes several turns and runs through several major cities. In these cities, the population runs around 1,000 people per kilometer. Since water is not prominent in these areas, the Volga River is a major source of drinking water. There is no actual waste system, so each household has its own independent system. In these areas, the EOC services are engaged in the collection and disposal of the solid waste. As the national river, the Volga is the largest in Europe in terms of length, discharge, and watershed. With about 200 tributaries, it flows 3,692 kilometers, or about 2,300 miles, to the Caspian Sea. There are few geographic zones that lie within the Volga Basin: a dense marshy forest, a forest steppe, and a semi-desert lowlands. Over the years, major dams and reservoirs have been constructed along parts of the river. Along with the dams and reservoir, hydroelectric power stations and navigation locks have been added. Although extensive development of the Volga has a major contribution economically, there have also been major environmental impacts as well. The dams and reservoirs built have altered more than 70 species of fish native to the Caspian Sea and the river. These changes, along with other pollutions and runoff into the river, have drastically affected the fisheries, wildlife, and growth along the river. The climate ranges greatly from the start of the Volga River to the end. In the mountains, during the winter, ice and snow dominate over the northern parts of the river, while during spring and summer, some areas are dry and get very little rainfall. The average rainfall for the region is about 8 inches per year, and there are very long periods of drought. Being easily traveled for about 2,000 miles, the Volga River and more than 70 of its tributaries are responsible for more than half of all the inland freight and passenger traveling that takes place. Volga River, Kama River, Volga River, and the Sura River are the largest and most important estuaries or wetland areas within the river basin. 1.35 million square kilometers make up the total acreage of estuaries or wetland areas within the river basin. The Volga estuary is one of the most important, with over 40 species of plants and 30 species of animals. It is full of life. Sturgeon, beluga, starlet, white-eyed bream, plus hundreds of species of birds and fish are some of the major living organisms near the wetland areas of the river basin. Pollutants in the river water from upstream impact downstream habitats. They deteriorate environmental quality and decrease the biodiversity in the delta and lower basin. Along the river are thousands of miles of vegetative barriers, but those barriers are decreasing due to deforestation. With the decreasing barriers, there is a higher risk for flooding. Due to lack of vegetation, more stormwater and runoff pollution are easily able to flow into the river. There are several cities that access the river daily for drinking water, but it is usually not safe to drink. It must be boiled before use because of waterborne diseases. An estimated 8% of wastewater is fully treated prior to dumping into waterways. Most water treatment facilities are obsolete, inefficient, and generally overwhelmed by the volume of material that now passes through them, but funding is not available to fix or replace them. Monitoring the river, safeguarding the area, and increasing public education are all actions taking place to help restore the river. These tactics are unfortunately unsuccessful in general due to lack of interest and not enough education about the issue. Lack of government support and financial funding is also a main reason why little change is taking place.